Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. I've got a couple metal frame concealed carry guns here. I've got the Walther PPK in 380 and the Sig Sauer P238. This is the HD model, also in 380. Please don't forget to check out our website. Go to our affiliates page. You'll find discount codes for things like Mantis Axe and Core belts. Link to that cool little bore light that we use for lighting up the barrels. Use those links. It will often save you money, never will cost you any additional money, and helps the channel. And please consider supporting the channel on Player, formerly Utreon, where we can do some types of videos that are no longer allowed on YouTube. So we all know that the polymer guns have pretty much taken over the realm of concealed carry these days, but there's still some people that like metal guns. They're a little bit heavier, a little bit easier to control, a little bit easier to shoot well when they're small, and there's just something nice about them. So if you're looking for the smallest, lightest, tiniest thing, it's not going to be these. But if you're like metal guns and you're wanting something that has a little bit of heft to it, these will actually do well for you. Now the P238 itself is still in production, though I don't believe this HD model that I've got here, which is the all-metal version, is still in production, but you still can likely find them around. This is a steel version, so it's got some mass to it. It weighs 20.5 ounces. The PPKS that's sitting over here weighs 22.6, so they're kind of close when it comes to weight. So let me put this down for a second, and we'll talk about the PPKS. Now the PPKS it's got a really vague, kind of stiff, hard to move slide versus the P238 that's very defined and very light and very easy to pull. But this gun, I wouldn't say is necessarily a great gun, but it became very popular due to a certain British spy in Hollywood movies that likes to run around with them. And these are back in production. These have gone in and out of production over the years quite a few times. This particular one is an inner arms version. Now they're being made directly by Walther and imported. So depending on the year of the one you're looking at, if you're looking at a new one, they do still make them new. Their MSRP is about $979. MSRP on these varies between $400 and $900 depending on which flavor you choose. They, you know, Sig, they make a whole bunch of different marketing versions of them with different trim and things like that, and the prices vary accordingly. In 380, this is actually quite unpleasant to shoot. It just hits wrong. It's not, despite the weight of it and actually having decent grips, it kind of just doesn't feel nice. It is a blowback gun, which is not uncommon with 380, but it just overall is rather unpleasant to shoot. In 32, it's actually quite fun to shoot. So as concealed carry goes, the caliber you would want to have for concealed carry, which would be 380, is not going to be a fun range day. This in 380 actually proved to be quite comfortable to shoot and easy to control. So you'd think, you know, lighter guns, both about the same size, both about the same weight, they'd work about the same, but it turned out not to be the case. Now, capacity-wise, the P238 uses, not this mag, that's the PPK mag, it uses these metal mags, and it has a 6-round standard capacity with the flush mag, and it has an extended 7-round capacity available. The PPKS has this magazine that I tried to show you earlier, and it's a 7-round flush mag. So from a size perspective, the P238 is a little bit shorter. You can see fairly easily there at 5.51 inches versus 6.25 for the PPKS. The height is getting closer. 4.3 tall for the PPKS and 3.9 for the Sig Sauer. And the thickness are both hover around 1 inch depending on where you measure them. The grips are a little bit fatter at different points, but they're all in the 1 inch territory. And as I mentioned, 20.5 ounces, 22.6. Now, different variants of this P238 may be lighter if they, you know, they aren't the steel frame. Sights, big difference. Almost unusable sights on the PPKS. It's kind of just a notchback rear sight, and the front sight actually has a red dot, but it's so recessed it actually kind of looks almost black. Very difficult to see. The sights on the P238 are tritium fiber, tritium, not fiber, but tritium with a white ring, and they stand out and they're real easy to see. So from a sight's perspective, it's just much easier on the Sig than the Walther to shoot well. There is a little red notch here at the back of the sight, but it's just not really truly useful. This was hard to use the sights on. Trigger operates differently on both of them. The 238 is more of a 1911 style trigger. So straight back, short, light, no double strike capability. It works like a 1911. It has to cycle. But again, it's really short, really light, really crisp. And you can thumb the hammer back, or you can let it cycle. And it's really easy to rack, as I mentioned earlier. It does have a thumb safety that you can optionally choose to use if you're going to carry it cocked and locked, which this is really designed to be carried cocked and locked because there's not a safe way to drop the hammer and leave the hammer on the round. From a safety perspective, it does have the thumb safety, does not have the internal drop safety piston, and it also doesn't have an inertial toggle on the trigger. So this is either empty chamber or cocked and locked. That's the planned way to operate this particular gun. PPKS is a little different in that it's a DASA, so I happen to have it cocked at the moment. And in that mode, it's actually a really short, nice light trigger. It's not super light, but it is short, light, and easy to operate. In double action mode, it's a little heavy, but it's relatively smooth. And it's got a long travel, which is usual for double action. I found this a little difficult to shoot well in double action mode. It tended to want to move as you go because of the length of travel and being a little bit heavy. But in single action mode, the trigger itself did the job well. It's got a little serration or texture on the top to cut down glare. The Sig has a rounded matte finish, also with the plan to cut down glare. Overall, these are interesting guns. I wouldn't say that either one of these is the perfect ultimate choice because of the fact that they're heavier and lower capacity than what's out there today. I probably would pick the Sig in 380. This again comes a number of different variants and color combinations with an MSRP between $400 and $900. This has an MSRP around $979. I've seen them in black. I've seen them in this stainless look like this, and again they go in and out of production, so depending on whether you're finding a used one, a new old stock, or the latest production may vary what variations and colors and textures and styles are available on it. This happens to be an older one that was imported by Interarms, and that's what was available at the time this thing was being brought in. One other note on this, the Sig makes a number of different grips for it. This kind of rubberized grip is a little bit thicker but a little more comfortable. They also have the thinner wood and various different materials. So from a ability to buy one that is different than every other one out there, the Sig's kind of got that nailed. This does come in fewer varieties. They're all relatively similar, just nuancy differences. Overall, again, I would choose the Sig, but they're both very nice guns. If you're looking for a fun range day gun and you're willing to buy a used one, if you can find one of these in 32, they're actually quite fun to shoot, but less useful for concealed carry. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Player, Rumble. We're pretty much everywhere. And thank you.